How is everybody? No, this is going to be a pretty short meeting today. We're just going to do introductions of committee members and our staff, and just some general, probably housekeeping things. We do not have kind of our committee rules yet. We will have those that are pretty much going to be like every other committee. So if there's a committee does them beforehand, you can just agree and we'll move on. I don't think anything that big of a deal. And we'll wait for Representative Fairchild. So a couple housekeeping things for our conferees to know that it comes from above our pay grade, but any testimony PDF, and we would like to have you supply 3 printed copies of any testimony. Those go into the permanent books that go into the archives and go into other things. In the past, we've done PDFs, and then we've spent the time, and evidently somebody somewhere decided that, you know, if y'all could bring those, that's one less thing that our staff has to take care of later on. So we're just compliance. You know, that's what you'll find. We'll just do nothing but comply. I know those that have been on this committee for a couple of years know that's not necessarily the case. Also, we are not planning, unless something really happens, to be on Fridays. Friday at 3:30 is unfair, especially for those that live close, like Kansas City. But those of us who live 4 hours away, it's fine. So, but unless something really happens, we will do most of our heavy lifting on probably Wednesday, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And Mondays, some Mondays we will meet. And it just, you know, as bills get rolling. I don't know if we'll have a ton of bills. I know the Senate's going to be more active this year, which is good, gives us something to do after turnaround instead of staring at each other and singing songs. Those are wide eyed, you know, no, we really don't. But anyway, so that'll be what's going on, and we'll talk a little bit more also, if anything else, for the good of the committee in just a moment. So let's start with the committee assignments, or committee, well, you all got to sign this, so I'm sorry if you want to talk to your leadership and change, I guess. Good luck, because that won't happen. There's a reason why you're here, and you'll find that out as the session goes on. No, not really. So Representative Seibert, if you would begin with the introduction, would you tell us who you are, where you're from, and what your favorite thing of agriculture is?
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Within 10 minutes, yes.
Oh, within 10 minutes, okay. I gotta go. Anyway, I'm from District 101. It's easy to remember because it's the same forward as is backwards. It's south central Kansas. Represent the west side of Wichita to Kingman County, all the way to Kingman County, and then I got the southeast third of Reno County, which includes Yoder. I don't have Yoder anymore. Retired farmer, been farming most of my life. You know, worked for 2 little companies. I don't know if you ever heard of AT&T. Worked for them for 30 years, and another little company called John Deere. So I worked for them for 8 or 9, and so learned a little bit about big companies, and enjoy agriculture. And what I like best about agriculture is the food.
Excellent.
Hello, I'm Dwayne Droege, representative of District 13, which is Woodson, Wilson, Greenwood, and Chase, in the corner of Lyon. So it's almost all grassland, and that's what I've always loved the Flint Hills, and I think it's the prettiest part of the world, not just the state.
Fred Gardner. I'm House District 9, which is Allen County, Anderson County, a little bit of Lynn and Miami counties. My favorite part and so we're very rural, my district. I have a slight horse addiction, but I try not to let that influence my politics. But my main interest in agriculture has always been, of course, I'm a somewhat retired veterinarian, so animal agriculture has been a very important part of my life and also my family's life for many generations.
Doug Blex, House District 12, which includes the western half of Montgomery, all of Chautauqua, all of Elk, 2/3 of Cali, which is primarily just cows and grass, and then a little bit of Butler. So I have 2 full counties and parts thereof of 3. Live south of Independence, retired wildlife biologist with Kansas Wildlife and Parks, run cattle and farm on the family farm. Been there for a long time.
I'm Gary White, 115th District. I have 5 counties, Ford, Edwards, Gray, Meade, and Clark County. I'm a 5th-generation Kansas farmer, 1st-generation Clark County farmer.
Jim Minix, my farm's in Scott County, a little in Wichita and Wallace counties. My district borders Colorado and goes east along Highway 96, 124 miles, and then it goes north about 90 miles. It's the least densely populated of all the House districts. I have the same 23,000 people every one of you have, and a lot of range out there and a lot of farm ground. There's not many people. Some of these counties have about 1,600 people in the entire county. I've been in agriculture. My family showed up out there in 1873. I know that sounds late for eastern Kansas. For western Kansas, that was somewhat early. We do a little bit of irrigation, mostly dryland corn, wheat, sorghum, triticale, and a background operation. What I like most about agriculture, even here during the session, I get home on Saturdays and Sundays and I get to feed the cattle. I give my hired man the day off. And my son has a couple border collies, and we start calves off of ranches that we've contracted back in August. Some of these same ranches we've contracted with since 1990. But we wean those calves out on green triticale when we can and give them as good a home as possible. I think farmers are actually prime environmentalists, but one of my favorite things is to watch my son's border collies gather those cattle and bring them into a corral just as calm and easy as possible, and that's fun to watch. I enjoy that.
I'm Lisa Mosier. I represent District 106, which is 4 counties up along the Nebraska border, Marshall, Washington, Republic, and Jewell, so completely rural representation. Lifetime rancher. In fact, on Thursday, I will celebrate 43 years ranching with my husband. So that has always been my very first love. My family came over in 1877, so about the same. And my younger brother still lives on the home farm that my great-grandparents moved to when they came over from the Czech Republic. My absolute favorite thing about agriculture is filet mignon.
I'm Representative Neely. My district is Eudora, Tonganoxie, Easton, and a little sliver of Lawrence. I spent a lot of my family and younger years at both my grandparents and everything were farmers or ranchers. I thought I should be a cowboy as my middle name is Western. I was really bad at it, and so I don't do that anymore. But my favorite thing about agriculture is the people that are involved in it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm Linda Featherston. I represent the 16th District, which is Overland Park. It's kind of the area surrounding Johnson County Community College. My favorite part of agriculture is putting that tiny little seed in the ground, and then you come back maybe the next week and you see 2 little leaves pop up, and then 3 or 4 weeks down the road, you have a whole something you could harvest to give to somebody else.
Little seeds is a great transition. My name is Tobias Schlingensiep, and I represent District 55 in central Topeka from Washburn to the Kansas River between Topeka Boulevard and Gage Boulevard. So I guess I represent a growing number of urban farmers, as I've said in the past. That actually isn't a joke. And I think I'm the Don Quixote de la Topeka for trying to get respect for sesame seeds in the state. And I had the the pleasure of visiting the representative from the Nebraska border outfit last summer, where she introduced us to the bull breeding operation out there and the genetics behind that, and absolutely fascinating, and I really appreciated it very, very much, and trying to learn as much as I can in this committee. I'm someone who actually wanted to be a farmer, but didn't grow up in a family that did that, so I'm happy to kind of live that out a little bit here. So it's good to be with you all again.
Hello, I'm Suzanne Weichel. I represent District 10, which is part of Lawrence. It's the southeast part of Lawrence. My favorite thing about agriculture is probably I have very fond memories of visiting my uncle's farm up in Brown County many times as a child. And I'm very eager to learn more and be engaged on the committee.
Good evening. My name is Wanda Brownlee Page. I represent the 35th District. I was kind of shocked I was on this committee, but I'm here. I'm willing to learn. I taught school for 30 years. And the funny thing is my dad, when my parents moved from Mississippi, he always wanted his own farm. He grew crops in the backyard and did all that. And finally, before he retired, he bought some property and raised pigs. We had a few cows, but mainly cows to kill, because it was 10 of us to feed us. And we learned to appreciate land. I didn't want to do the work, but I could appreciate what he was doing, because I thought this is too much. But I appreciate what he did, and by teaching social studies, we were always talking about great civilizations and how they formed, and they tend to form near a body of water, and what that water did to enrich the soil and tie it all together. So I can appreciate it. It's not something I want to do, but I have the utmost respect because we depend on farmers to feed us. So we have to make sure we all work together. But this, my parents are deceased, but I talk to them every night. But I said, Daddy, you'll never believe I'm on an agriculture committee. So we just go from there.
That is a tough act to follow. My name is Representative Brooklyn Mosley. I represent Lawrence. Funny aside, in a few years, I worked at the VFW National Headquarters, and my department actually sponsored a Veterans in Agriculture symposium in West Virginia. So I spent 3 days learning about agriculture. So I owe someone a phone call like you wouldn't believe it. I'm sitting on an ag committee. My favorite parts of agriculture is actually between technology and ag, so like using drones and stuff like that to help with crop yields and stuff like that, and then probably agritourism, because I love a good farm-to-table dinner place, so that's me.
I'm Representative Brett Fairchild. I represent the 113th District in Central Kansas. I represent 5 counties, 3 full counties, and parts of 2 counties. My dad and I farm together north of St. John. I've been on the Ag Committee since I've been on here. It's been a good experience.
Hi, committee. My name is Angel Roser. I represent the 67th District. It is completely in Riley County, so not spread out like yours at all. I represent Manhattan and the best land-grant university in the entire country, K-State. I come from a farm family. One of my foster families that I lived with the longest. So we produce corn to be turned into ethanol, and then we run a full cattle unit. So that's what we do. And then we also have a sod house from 1869. That sod house is on display at the Historic Museum in Nebraska. That's where I'm from, not a Cornhusker. My favorite thing about agriculture is sourdough. I am a bread person. I've made a lot of different things. So if you ever want some, let me know, and I'd be happy to bring you some.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Webb Roth, I'm District 79, Northern Cali, Northern Sumner County. Lots and lots of acreage of farm ground and lots of cattle. Sheep and goats. I have a little 3-acre farm in Winfield, and you know, I have Representative Featherston. I really agree with you. I love, like right now, because when I look at the ground, I see all the potential that's there, you know, and it's so exciting. And then when you do put the seeds in the ground and you do see the plants grow and you do harvest and, it's just something. Or if you're riding out like I did growing up, building fence out in western Kansas, and coming back in completely red because I had red hair and fair skin and just get sunburnt to oblivion, but building fence for miles and miles and miles, and you look at the land and the outdoors, it's just absolutely wonderfully amazing. And I am privileged to be on this committee. I know very little, but I look around the room and hear the people that are here, and I'll be able to learn a lot. And thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Start with staff. Kyle?
Hi, I'm Kyle Hamilton with the Revisor's Office. I'm here to help you guys out with your bill drafts and amendments. I handed out a memo you'll see on COMA and CORA, and I'd ask you guys please read through that. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. It'll be really helpful for all of your different obligations up here in the Capitol building. My favorite thing about agriculture is food distribution systems and how plentiful a lot of our resources are. I feel really grateful to be living in this time period, even with our very unique challenges.
My name is Carly Choi. I'm with the Office of Revisor of Statutes, and I'm basically here to help Kyle out as much as possible. And I think, to steal another answer, my favorite thing about agriculture is the food.
Hello, everybody. My name is Max Adams. It's nice to meet all of you. I'm with the broadcasting department, and I would say my favorite thing about agriculture is also all of the delicious food that comes out of it.
I'm Dana Rooney, and I'm the committee assistant. This is my 12th year. My day is trying to organize for the committee meetings and control your chairman. I grew up on a farm in Shawnee County on the lower Silver Lake Road, so I'm familiar with a lot of agriculture. And my favorite thing about it is that I no longer have to gather the eggs and feed the chickens.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Committee. I'm Heather O'Hara with Legislative Research. I'm a farm girl from Southwest Iowa. That dates from 1893. My favorite thing about agriculture is actually twofold. I love arguing with my family about farm policy during the holidays. And then I also don't know in what childhood I would not have the opportunity to carry a 2-foot sharpened knife and go walk beans in the summer. So it's pretty fun.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My name is Walter Schmidt. This is my second session here with House Agriculture. Excited to be here again. My favorite thing about agriculture is just the environmental impact that it has, all the way from growing to everything in between. I really appreciate all of that. Thank you.
All right, very good. We got everybody. Representative Fairchild, I delayed and regaled them in stories, just waiting for you to get here. So that's new members to the committee. We've seldom start at 3:30, so if you get a coffee or have a constituent, you're a couple minutes late, you're probably gonna, since I have such a long walk to get here, across the hall is where my office is. So anyway, well, I'm Ken Rogers, if you don't know. This is my 10th year now, which is hard to believe. Most people go, I thought you would have been voted out by now. This is my 4th year, right, as chair of Ag Committee? 5th? My word. No wonder Kansas agriculture is in such good shape. No, I'm just kidding. I basically live where I grew up. I'm a quarter mile from where our kind of headquarters farm is, where a house my grandparents built back in the 60s. And live on the farm, don't necessarily farm too much. As my wife says, look at your hands, they're softer, you know. So had a cow herd, sold them in 1999. Many of you probably weren't even born back then, but I do the next best thing. I talk about it all the time. So I'm also a farm broadcaster and on a bunch of stations. We do some radio and TV stuff, and so keeps me kind of plugged in with what goes on in the world. You know, we talk about all the good things of agriculture. That's why I wanted to, you know, kind of get everybody else's take. Everybody, as you know, kind of had a different answer. And that's what I hope we learn in this committee, that we come with an open mind. We're hopefully one of the more nonpartisan committees, that we just want to do what's right. We want you, if you have questions, there are no bad questions. Ask Representative Schlingensieben. See, I got it right the first time. So, yeah, I know. So I should have recorded that and hit the button. But, you know, what we do is not necessarily a heavy lift, but it impacts the economy of the state of Kansas in a tremendous way. Aviation does a big part, but really the state doesn't move without agriculture. And we have also the chair of the water committee on this deal. And normally it would be in here, but water is so important, leadership decided to make it its own committee, which is fine. But to me, that's one of the keys, and that's one of the things I fought and reported on for a number of years, is water. And without water, we have nothing else. We can have all the debates and all the fights and all the you know, everything in the world. But without water, we wouldn't have the burgeoning cattle industry here in the state of Kansas. We wouldn't have the irrigation, wouldn't have a lot of different things. So I would, you know, say pay attention to what's going on in water. It's not just agriculture and irrigation, but it's our city friends, it's our municipalities, it's our industrial, it's all these uses. And it's not only quantity, but also a quality. And not to take away from Chairman Minix, but it's also one of my passions. And you know, as they say, it's true. I mean, whiskey's for drinking and water's for fighting. And I think, you know, if we can be one of those committees that, you know, can have a general tone. I don't see a lot of things that are going to be hugely controversial. We're going to do a lot of learning. It's going to start on Thursday. Dr. Alan Featherstone, who heads up the economics department at K-State, is going to give a general overview of the agriculture economy here in the state of Kansas. And I think that's a good baseline as we move forward. We're going to hear from the commodity groups here in just a few days as well. And also next week, as a preview, we're going to have our state veterinarian come in and give us an update on HPAI and the impact it's having. One of the things that, you know, we have two retired, semi-retired, I don't know, you're retired as a veterinarian here, so we've kind of got a 1-2 punch here that know a lot of different things. And so, but feel free at any time to ask questions. That's what we want to do. And it is kind of, it's daunting, but also exciting. I know if you're maybe from a metro area and go, what do we do? Why am I on the Ag Committee? Well, you eat, I think. And so that's why it's important. And I think if you ask others that have been on this committee, we've done things like soil health. We've done things like food banks. We've done things that bring it all together, food systems and how that's working, what's successful and what we can and can't get down the state of Kansas. But I think it's important because all that comes together. I think you're going to find that too over the next 2 years. So that's just kind of it. And I'll do my best not to drone on. I probably drone on long enough as it is. And we may talk about drones too. I don't know. But again, we will not meet tomorrow because of all the other state of whatever, state of confusion. We start in the morning and go through. But also, I would ask that you bring, hopefully everybody's got their new computer and you haven't broke it. You know, if you fold it over, it doesn't break. It's actually supposed to do that. So if you did get a new state computer, you need to bring those because that's where the testimony is going to be like in years past. So for us, so bring your computers. They're pretty lightweight and they have a tremendous battery. Because they don't shut down, I found out. But so I thought it did, but I thought, oh, you know, I'm in trouble already. But if you can sure bring your computers, we will continue to have the agendas out so you kind of know. But you can pretty much plan on not meeting on Friday afternoons, so you can be on your way. I'm pretty flexible if you need to be testifying in another committee, no problem. If you need to go home, if you need to have another meeting with constituents, just let Dana or I know. And if you're not going to be here, that's understandable, and we understand. You'll know in enough advance, especially the days we're going to be voting and working bills and voting on bills, so that you can be here for that. Anything else for the good of the cause? Let it be noted, we are done at 4 o'clock. I cannot guarantee that ever again. We started late, so nothing else. We are adjourned.